Is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And welcome to the show, everybody. We got a great show today. Oh, Rochelle, you look just ravishing, my dear.
Hey, thanks. So do you, Kevin, as always.
Except I'm not wearing any lipstick or anything like that. If I did, you wouldn't see it anyway because I've got face hair and stuff. And so we got a great show today. We are really excited about having these two on. They've got a website, which is called, Rochelle?
Yes, which is called thecooperculture.com.
Very good. And Marty and Ron Cooper, and I got to give you some, first of all, I want to thank him for his service. He was in the military and in Vietnam during the Vietnam War from 71 to 73. He witnessed the Hanoi Hilton being emptied. He flew 300 combat missions and never got captured, and that is just phenomenal. And also his wife Marty and him in September celebrated their 57th year together. You guys must have gotten married when you were like 5 or something.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I was 21 and Marty is actually almost 2 years older than me. And there's a story behind that. But I felt that Marty is probably going to be a keeper. And it's a longer story and I won't bore anybody with it. But my dating days in college and high school were a one and done. And I did not want to end up in that category with Marty.
Well, you know, there are some times when you find that person that just it makes you go, I'm what do they call it? I'm batting above my batting average in order to get together with her, and I'm not going to let her go. And you haven't.
Well, and another way to express that, Kevin and Rochelle, is to say that I'm married way up. Now, you can look at the picture of us and guess that Marty is maybe a foot shorter than me, which is very close to being accurate, but I married way up.
Congratulations. And Marty, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great.
We know that you are a busy person, and so you're going to not be here for the entire show. So I would love to focus on you. What do you think about this big lug sitting next to you?
I'm like him. When I saw him and decided, yeah, this is a chance to. I think my first thought was to get out of Indiana. I wanted to leave Indiana. So he was my ticket. But I think what I first saw in him was a determination to get his degree, determination to follow his dream and get his dream. And that's exactly what he did. So I knew he was serious about his future, because one funny little story. I went to a dance and asked his friend, well, where's Ron? And so he went, he got him. Ron came down. He said, I can only dance with you one time because I have to get my homework done because the Redskins are playing tomorrow.
A man after my own heart.
Yeah. Yeah. But I didn't give up.
Well, and I gotta ask you, because Rochelle's had this experience, and I don't know if this goes back to when 57 years ago, but she's dated some young men that are a little younger than her, and she's found them to be a little, well, Rochelle, maybe you can describe it.
I think they are more willing to be emotional and a little more authentic, not so like they're who you get. But also just more fun and more spirit. And I think I've probably almost always dated somebody younger than me. But it's a lot of love, you know, and the older you get, the more stern people usually get, and you guys are just like vibrating what that feels like when you go on your first date and you've got butterflies in your tummy. I'm pretty sure you guys still feel that every day by doing things with each other and keeping the love alive. And so, you know, there's positives in both sides of things, no matter who you choose. But the reason that you guys chose each other is I think a huge focus for us younger people. There needs to be purpose.
Well, no, thank you, Rochelle. I will tell you, I'll interject very quickly here. The more I was dating Marty, the more I liked her. And I learned during that talking routine that she was nearly 2 years older than me. So I said, well, Marty, if this nearly 2 years age difference might bother you, please tell me now because I'm starting to like you. Now that's how suave I am. And then Marty responded with something like, "You need a mature woman."
No, and you know that is so true. There's so much learning because think about it. Women naturally, they say, mature mentally faster than men. So even if it's only that 2 years, sometimes it can feel like five. And I bet Marty, there's been lots of patience, right?
Um, well, I'm trying to think. When we first started, we could always talk. He would call me from at my apartment, and we could talk for 2 hours. But this was after he had his homework done. So, but we could always talk. We've always been able to talk. So that's been a big help.
Yeah.
He's my best friend. So, and I learned that early on that he would be there for me for no matter what.
Yep, that's what it's about.
In a part of the boring topics, I use that say it somewhat facetiously, Rochelle, is we talked about money. Do you save money? Do you spend money? And credit cards were not as prevalent then as they are now. How are we going to raise children and so forth? But a huge, gigantic factor was Marty had a 1965 blue Volkswagen Beetle, and I did not have transportation. So I wanted to try to play this as cool as I could because I needed transportation and I couldn't afford it.
I gotta
It's
tell
good
you.
communication.
Well, and a Volkswagen Bug, for those of you who don't have any idea what that is, because they don't even make them anymore, I don't think. That was in those days, that was the big deal to have a little Volkswagen Bug. The engine was in the back, the trunk was in the front, and you had to crawl into it, and it was a little bitty. That's why they called it a bug.
Yeah, right on. That was right there where we were.
I will say oh gosh, it cost me $1,900. That's what I had to pay for it.
You'd be amazed, Rochelle, the cost differences between then and now, and you know. But in any event, but Marty, and I want to give you an opportunity. The secret of your marriage longevity. What do you because I told the two of you, I was married for 24 years. It was the best 6 months of my life. And other than that, but you've had 57 great years, and I'm sure it's been mostly roses, but I'm sure there's a thorn every now and again. How did you handle that?
I think commitment. Are you committed? For us, are you committed to that partner? Is it worth any heartache that would cause not only the marriage, but the children, the families? It involves everybody. So our commitment to each other is one thing that kept us together. And I think our ability to talk through whatever is bothering each other, just to be open with each other. Right, Ron?
Well, yes. And I will tell you, it's a much larger life story for me, acceptance. That through talking, Marty and I established each other's values and as Marty said, we could talk then and still now. We spend a lot of time talking about our future and so forth. But Marty was very accepting of me, and there's a much, much longer story behind that. But I really needed someone to accept me because I had a very, very poor self-image. I know now my mental health the first 2 decades of my life was very bad. And but Marty accepted me, and I learned that through our conversations. And so that was a major, major factor.
Well, Ron, and I told you this, and I talked to you about this when we had our pre-interview meeting, and you threw 300 combat missions, and you were a fighter pilot. Do you know how rare? Well, you do know. There are lots of guys that wanted to be fighter pilots that didn't muster and didn't make it, and you not only made it, you through 300 missions and survived each one. Congratulations on all of that. The military, did that make you a man at a young age?
I think probably it did, but I will tell you, Kevin, I owe a lot of my manhood to 4 men then and Marty now. But very briefly, I could spend a lot of time talking about it, but the 4 men in the sequential order were my maternal grandfather, my uncle, his son, my high school football coach, and Marty's dad. Each one of them were unofficially, not specifically designated my mentor, but they ended up mentoring me through a very difficult part of my life. And the common theme behind each one of those 4 were they accepted me. However awkward I was, but I had such a poor image of myself, low confidence, and so forth. Each of these 4 men accepted me, and I had such a low confidence, Kevin and Michelle, I would never ask a question because that would verify that I'm stupid, which was a very underlying premise of me at the time. But these men helped me overcome that to where I felt comfortable asking questions. I would never ask a question in the classroom at high school. And quite honestly, I jokingly say I'm making up for lost time now for the first 2 decades of my life where I would never ask a question. But no, that was a very, very formative stage of my life. And when I was 5 years old, I saw an air show at Andrews Air Force Base, and I just thought then, whatever it takes, boy, I was fascinated by the flying, and I somehow, some way, I'd love to do that. It became a burning desire. I would never tell anybody I wanted to do that because they didn't want anybody to tell me, no, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough to do that. And so by being with these 4 men, my grandfather, uncle, high school football coach, and father-in-law, they each helped me over a very difficult part of my life. I developed my self-confidence in, I guess you would call it manhood, along with that, to where I developed the courage that, yes, I will ask questions. And it took me a long time to have the courage even to ask questions. But that is a part of my life and upbringing. And then I say that one of the greatest days of my life was after I had applied to the Air Force. I got the letter that's saying, Ron Cooper, you are accepted into the United States Air Force's undergraduate pilot training. And that was just a major, major life event that took possibly 15 years to fruition. But once I got into undergraduate pilot training, which the basic training was 53 weeks, almost everybody in my class said, Ron, you were born to fly. So I felt at that point, Kevin and Michelle, that I am living my life purpose. And it's I've just built on that ever since then. So that's somewhat of a brief story of what the past used to be.
Well, and Marty, I got to ask you, there are moments in life that you remember your whole life. As an example, when Ron proposed and things like that, when you graduated from high school, your wedding day. But I got to tell you, one of the major moments of your life, and I'll bet you remember like it was yesterday, when you told your dad, I've got a boyfriend and I'd love you to meet him. Do you remember what that meeting was like and how apprehensive you were?
I had a good relationship with my dad, so I knew I could just tell him anything. So yeah, I did tell him about Ron, and so Ron come. We were in Fort Wayne, and my parents lived in Marion, so we drove down. He met my parents, and then one weekend I went down by myself, and my dad calls me into my grandparents' kitchen and says, "Okay, you're 2 years older than him. Don't let that bother you." And another thing, because I could date somebody 2 times and forget it. Don't want that. And he goes, "You better hang on to this one because he's a good one to hang on to." so I valued my dad's opinion.
And by the way, do you have any idea how rare that is? Because dads can be very protective of daughters.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. So I listened.
Rochelle?
Yeah, so I'm thinking, Marty, what was it like for you the day he left and was going off to do these missions? And did you just always have a sense of hope? Like, I know he will come home, or were you? What did you do to keep yourself distracted when your best friend was gone?
Our daughter was a year old when he left, and so I had her, and I always knew that Ron was to me, Ron was the best Air Force fighter pilot. So I knew he was coming home, and I didn't know that much about Vietnam. And we were told as waiting wives, don't read the newspaper, don't listen to the news, because there was a lot of people not liking the war and very much against it. So I kept myself busy. I stayed in California with our daughter, and I worked, and I just raised her. And the one thing I want to say that I did that I was really glad I did, I had a poster board, and I had a picture of Ron in his flight suit. And even though she was a year old, I would take her every day to that picture and say, "This is Daddy," because I did not want her to be scared of Ron when he finally came home. And the day he came home after 6.5 months for our R&R, and the day after we picked him up, she went up to him, put her arms up, and got in his lap. So I'm glad I did that, because she wasn't afraid of him, and she has a great relationship with him now because she's just so like him.
Well, we need to take a real quick break, and when we come back, Brichelle's got another question because her mouth was open and I cut her off. So we'll be right back. It's just 43 seconds. Stay with us, everybody. Here is another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. The world is full of people who would die for someone they love. But what about living for them? Waking up early to take care of your health. Letting go of the habits that steal your years. Choosing rest instead of running yourself empty. The truth is, your family doesn't want a hero who dies for them. They want a parent who stays. A friend who grows old with them. A soul who chooses life every single day. Don't just die for love. Live for it. And welcome back to Positive Talk. Brichelle is here, and I'm so excited that she's here. But I'm even more excited that Ron Cooper and Marty are here. And Brichelle, you had another question, so have at it.
I wanted to flip that question and ask Ron what was that like for you?
Oh, you must have scared the heck out of you, didn't it?
Rochelle, I am so grateful that Marty kept the home fires burning. That's a phrase that is somewhat of a cliche with some people. But technology at that time, in the early 70s, was we would send cassette tapes to each other. And it would take 2 weeks transit from Vietnam to the United States and so forth. But I recorded messages, she played them. And so Joanne and Marty heard my voice, and Marty made sure that our daughter, Joanne, heard my voice. And so even though there was that separation of time, I feel as if we did the best we could to have the home fires burning, and we just pick up right where we left off. I do know that in some cases, the family relationship is not that good, that you sometimes, well, divorces occurred and so forth. But I will tell you that Marty used the C word, commitment, because we had affirmed that we share the same values. We are committed to and through, or to each other and through whatever circumstances we have. And while it's easy to say that, I would say, Rochelle and Kevin, whatever challenges, whatever life encounters we're going through together, a very operative term for Marty and me, together, we will work through this, whatever it takes.
Now, I've got to ask you, Ron, because you're a big, strapping fighter pilot. You were on top of the world. I'm going to bet you cried when that little girl crawled up in your lap and gave you a hug.
Oh, come on. We don't cry. We don't even have tear glands to shed any of this kind of tears. Do we, Marty? No, Kevin, we fighter pilots sometimes can talk bravado, but I will tell you that there are some things that will trigger my emotions, and it may happen even while we're talking. It can trigger an emotion. I will tell you that, it's right there. And so, but that emotion relates to our commitment to each other. It's how deeply founded we are. And I'm going to interject very, very quickly here that one of the songs that I have adopted in our marriage, for anyone who likes country music, and if you remember Charlie Pride, one of his songs is "I Only Have Eyes for You." And I will tell you, I can just promise you, if you were to play it right now, I would get very emotional over that. But I will tell you, that's the words, the harmony, the melody, everything about that song portrays Marty's and my commitment to each other. I only have eyes for you. And of course, Marty's response is, you better make sure it stays that way.
I want to say before I have to leave, Rochelle, that what we tell young couples or young people that are dating, how do you find the right person? We tell them, make a list of what you want to see in that person. I mean, your values, your commitment, even finances. So just make a list of what you are looking for in a mate. And if they don't meet it all, then next.
But
that's actually very good advice.
Rochelle, in that context, we know that little things such as traditions, little family traditions, birthday parties, whether you even celebrate birthday parties, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and so forth. Sometimes families, well, our family tradition is we have week-long birthday parties. And there's some families say, well, that's nothing more than a number on the calendar to us. And so, but those kind of things, those things can separate some people, but you need to discuss those boring topics before you get to them, because they can become major topics of separation.
Right. I just want to thank you all for I got to get going. Thank you all for this. This has been great. And I love it.
And Marty, before you go, I have to ask you one of the most pivotal marital questions that is out there today. And that is, did you teach Ron how to load the dishwasher?
Thank you, Kevin. That's one of the things I do not do, because no matter what I do, it will be wrong.
Yeah, that's a lifelong lesson trying to teach.
Yes, it is.
Thank you all so much. I do have to go.
Marty. We love you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a great day. And Ron and I know loading the dishwasher is a big deal, isn't it, Rochelle?
There's things that are above that. One of my things is anybody who does it. But if you throw your clothes this far from the hamper, I have this little button, and that button gets pushed. In that moment, I'm like, why? Like, or you take something and don't put it back in the same place. That I could deal with the dishwasher. I can, as long as it's running and the dishes are getting done and they're clean. Please go ahead and do it. But Ron, I had to ask you too, like, what do you think is such a major thing for younger people now, and why is it those conversations that aren't happening? Or I've heard a lot of people say, well, my commitments and my values have changed, and that person no longer met up with that. How did you and Marty keep at each other's level and understanding?
And that's a very important, very perceptive question, Purcell, and it's quite important. I will tell you that for Marty and me, I think there's some foundational values that never change. And one is I will never lie to Marty. Never. If I make a bad choice, if I do something wrong, she knows I'll never lie to her. And so that's one thing.
Yeah.
We have always, and technology, passwords, and so forth. She knows every one of my passwords. There's nothing in secret. There's no email messages, no text messages to which she cannot get access to, and so forth. Literally, every email I send, particularly Rochelle, if you and I were to communicate, I will always, always, always include Marty. Always, never fail. I want for her to know exactly what I'm saying. And if I'm saying something that's professionally or socially inappropriate, she'll tell me, but I want for her to know it. So there's no secrets, anything like that. I do think that in the age of technology, cell phones and so forth, we have somewhat grown apart from each other. That I'm the kind of person I would rather talk with you personally, Michelle, than by the text or email. But I know
Yeah.
there's some people who feel that no, I'm happy with email, which I consider to be voiceless, textless, voiceless, faceless. And so I would rather communicate with you in real time. But that's not a deal breaker, but that's my preference. So, with all that having been said, Rochelle, it's you just mentioned that yes, the clothes relative to the hamper, put it in. And if it's on the floor, you pick it up. And to you, that's a big deal. Those are things that, whether you call it OCD, obsessive compulsion, or whatever, those are things that matter to you. And but those are things that can separate people. And and so, as Marty and I purpose to focus on each other, what are those things that can bring us together? We literally all the time talk about our personal strategic goals, our business, the Cooper culture. What do we want to do? We are, quote, retired, but I prefer the term transitioned. We're never going to retire. We're always going to keep moving forward. And so we're always want to learn. We're reading, we're in the classroom and so forth. We're learning from Rochelle, you, Kevin, and others. And so we're always learning. Very long answer to your question, but I think those are some of the things that you've got to make a determination. Do we share these same values, or what are core values and what are peripheral issues? You need to determine those.
Yeah.
Boy, Rochelle, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Kevin. I just had to say, because in those small things that we learn about each other, they're, like you said, that's where the value lies. For me, it's not because it drives me nuts to look at it or whatever it is, or something's not in its place. To me, it's valuing the space that you live in and taking care of it, and honoring what you have and not just making a mess of everything. And that would be something that would need to be communicated further. Hey, it's really not that little thing. It's what's underneath it that is the value. And I can totally see how in this younger generation, it's always about the little things, but what is underlying is not communicated. So helping me realize that, thank you.
What you said was extremely important, Rochelle. And what you're saying is, ostensibly, is, do you respect me? And so respect covers a very large territory. In other words, if I tell you I'm going to be somewhere at some time, it's important to me to tell you, Rochelle, there's a possibility, and this may even be 4 hours before we meet. Rochelle, there's a possibility I'll be late. I want you to
Yes.
know that because I respect you and your time, as opposed to no show, no tell, and no com and so forth. That tells you that I don't respect you. But
Yeah.
I think you need to determine, and we need to determine, do you respect me? And that may cover a host of topics for you, different from me. But
Right.
I think one of the things you will process through your relationship is, do you respect me? Everyone wants respect, and you give respect to earn respect, but that's a two-way street for us.
It's
I
very
just
different.
figured out a fundamental flaw in my marriage.
Uh-oh.
We never had a hamper in our bedroom.
Oh my gosh.
Kevin, you are just unbelievable.
All right.
But it's true. It's like that was kind of it. We never had one, now that I think about it, which probably contributed to our dissatisfaction with one another because our clothes were all over the floor.
See,
Well,
well, now
it's-
go get yourself a hamper and put a little basketball thing against the wall. So it's like you're making a basket every time.
All right, there you go. You need to attend Brichelle's classroom, Kevin.
Yeah.
Good. That's me.
Wait, no
Put
kidding.
the field goal up, put the poles up so that it's like touchdown every time. Woo! You get to celebrate it.
Right on.
It's a field goal and stuff. And by the way, Ron Cooper, we need to spend the rest of our time talking about the Cooper culture and how that came to be, because you are a public speaker, which, by the way, Ron, I gotta tell you that I've reached an epiphany in my tender age that I need to start doing public speaking. So I'm really excited to talk to you about your experience of that and all that you're doing with that and the Cooper culture. Can we go down that road?
Oh, definitely. Let's go down that road.
All right, but first we got to take our halftime break, and because Rochelle is going to be my manager and is going to make sure that I actually, I don't know, leave my house. I don't know. We'll figure that part out. But we'll be right back. More with Ron Cooper right after we do this break.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to BrushwoodMediaNetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back to Positive Talk. Rochelle is right there. She's a dancing fool right there. And Ron Cooper is with us. And the Cooper culture. And Rochelle, I'll let you lead off this segment.
Yes. So go visit the website that we are talking about, which is the cooperculture.com. Really, I'd like to know what sparked this and made it all come into fruition.
And Bricelle, thank you for asking that. I will tell you, and I'll try not to spend a whole lot of time about my background, but very briefly, words matter. And Kevin, I speak publicly on that topic. Words matter. That's one. But my father, who's not with us right now, would frequently tell me, well, Ron, you should have known, and it was known, and so forth. And my analytical mind would frequently think, well, when would I have known that? Because I did not know. My father was the type person that you do not ask him how I could have known, because he was an authority type figure, and that would have been questioning him. And so I just never did. And so I left those type of very curt conversations, believing that, well, somehow I should have known. I guess I'm not smart enough to know. Therefore, I churned over and over and over in my mind that I am stupid. Now, where does that relate to a Cooper culture? It is a culture, family culture, work culture. You can make people feel valued. You can make people feel less. And Kevin, a lot of your show, public radio, is about positive talking. And so certainly you want to be honest with people, but in the context of being honest, are you more negative or positive with people? And the culture I always want with my family in the workplace that I teach and have workshops is a positive culture. In the context of a positive culture is having a psychologically safe culture. Rochelle, I'm going to relate it to you in your dating that you might feel uncomfortable asking somebody who's dateable about what they believe in and so forth. But in the context of a workplace, we need to be comfortable that we can talk with those who are in a supervisory capacity over us. We need to have a free enough environment that I can ask, why do I have the freedom to suggest something that I think is better and so forth? Or is the culture such that I am risking my position by even mentioning something like that? That has to do with the culture. But I will tell you, it starts with the family, the culture in which I was raised. But I'm a believer that there is a continuum between the home and the workplace, because if you're treated well at home, there's a good home culture, there's a reasonable chance you'll arrive at work happy. If I, as a leader of my company, have instilled a positive culture, there's a good chance you'll leave the workplace and go home at least with a positive attitude. But I want to create leaders. I want to develop leaders who pervade themselves and make it known that Kevin, Rochelle, I will never force myself on you at the home place, but I want you to know I'm always available because I know there's a continuum between home and work. And so I want to make myself available to you. And I want you to know that through the sincerity of my words and my heart, that I'm available to help you through any challenges in life, wherever they occur, whether it's on the job or not. I want you to know I'm available because I respect you, Rochelle. I respect your strengths. I know your strengths and how you contribute to the company. And the same with you, Kevin. I know your strengths. I know your personality. I'll adapt to you. But that's all a part of making a team. But that's how the Cooper culture, with the emphasis on the word culture, came about, because I know, and many of your listeners likely will know, people stay with or leave an organization because of people, which is culture, less so because of pay. And so that's everything about culture and how we relate to each other.
Pay is actually like number 6 or 7 on the list of why people leave companies.
Yes.
The number 1 is job satisfaction and culture.
Yep, right there.
And something you said, Ron, is ringing in my head. Everything just came full circle with you saying about the matter of questions. I was the same kid. I would never ask a question. I would fail every class instead. I did not care. I was not going to be dumb enough to have you even tell me and me not understand, because not every kid learns the same, right? So, and Kevin, this is kind of a question for you too, because I've realized, Ron, that the reason people don't talk and tell each other these things is because the questions aren't being asked. If you ask somebody, they're probably going to tell you, and they're not going to have an issue doing it. And Kevin's kind of taught me that here on the show, with if you don't ask the question, then you'll never know. And a lot of creating a workspace, like Kevin always tells everybody in our team, if you have any questions, just ask me. Anything you need, I'm right here. I'm available. And to have that in family and in work, that's got to help bond the two. Kevin, did it do that for you when you started doing the show, and then with your personal life?
It is so important that you create, and Ron, I'd love your opinion about this. You create a persona and an environment with yourself that is open, honest, accepting of anything. Any question, nothing is off limits. Everything is accepting of you of them being comfortable enough with you to be comfortable enough to ask you any questions. Do you agree with that, Ron?
Oh, I'm right on target with you. That, and I'm going to offer another perspective of that. But yes, always, always, always ask a question. But am I confident enough in myself to ask a question? So, Kevin, from your perspective, it is let's say your position, it is a matter of creating that psychologically safe environment where you do feel comfortable asking a question. That has to do with a personal confidence. But then, Rochelle, I will tell you another thing about leadership is I need to know you. I need to know Kevin, because if I were now what I was then, the first 2 decades of my life, I would not be able to speak with you as I am right now. I would still remain silent. There are some people in the workplace who are going to remain silent because, and there's any number of reasons for that. Now, I would not want to make you talk, Rochelle, and I'm not going to force you to, but I want you to know that the culture of the company is very open. I want you to feel at ease to ask. And I might just discern that, well, Rochelle, I just have a sense that you're not asking questions because you might think that I intimidate you, or there's something of that nature. I want you to always, always feel free to ask me a question, because I am a believer, and this is literally who I am. Every person, every process can and should be improved. And I don't have the answers to them, but Kevin and Rochelle, you do. And I want to always I want to be a person who stimulates your thinking and create a culture to where you feel free to say, well, Ron, what do you think about trying this? And it may not be something that's implementable at the time, but I never want to stifle your thinking. That's a lot of what I'm thinking, Kevin Brousseau.
And Ron, I need to tell you this, because this gentleman comes on and he comments on the show a lot. Where he's at right now is Kenya. And it is midnight there. And yet he and his team are preparing to cook lunch or breakfast for 350 kids on Saturday morning. And
Wow.
they're taking the time to watch the show and to comment. Rochelle, what does Samuel say today?
Hi, Samuel. Good luck making all that food for tomorrow morning. He says, greetings, brother Kevin, sister from another mother, Rochelle, and guest Ron Cooper. Receive greetings from Kiberia slums in Nairobi, Kenya. We are watching you live with the large team today of 30 strong here in our center. We are preparing for tomorrow's Saturday feeding program. God bless you for this wonderful favorite program, Positive Talk Show in Kiberia. We are tuned in. And good luck, everybody. We love you. And Samuel, we need to be in touch, because we are going to start a movement working with you to help you and all those little kiddos do some amazing stuff. So, Ron, it's things like that there's certain shifts and certain moments of when you realize who you are. Do you remember one of the moments that sparked that confidence and made you think, wait, if everything I've thought about myself isn't true, then who am I?
Thank you, Rochelle. And yes, it's a hard attitude that your listeners have. And why would a person be up at midnight at 2 a.m. preparing for the breakfast the next morning? My goodness. I will tell you, the answer to your question, Rochelle, is yes. Marty's dad, my father-in-law, he lived on a farm. Marty and I were each raised on dairy farms, but we were building a large shop. It was about a 60-foot by 60-foot shop. And
Wow.
Joe is Marty's dad, would always plan. We'd spend hours and hours planning. And he said to me, and I remember exactly where I was standing, and I don't remember the exact day, but I know exactly where I was standing because it had such a positive meaning to me. He said, Ron, I really appreciate the way you think and you're able to follow what I'm saying. Right there, Rochelle, think. I mean, you found something positive in the way I think, because I'm a stupid person. And so I took that as, oh, wow, that's something so incredibly positive. And he didn't Joe, I don't think had any reason to believe I had such a low self-image, or if he did, he never talked. We never talked about it that way. But for
Yeah.
him to say, I really appreciate the way you think, that was a major data point for me that, wow, maybe I'm not as stupid as I think I am. And those are just some of the vignettes that occurred throughout the first 20 years of my life that helped build my self-confidence to where it is now. If my confidence now, and particularly when I was flying the F4, were then what it was the first 20 years, I definitely would not be able to fly. I
Yeah.
mean, some people may think that, well, Ron, you were never that bad. Well, I would do the best I can to try to explain the way things were with no intention of focusing on the past. But that's the way the past was, with the focus on the positiveness of these four men, then Marty now, are the ones who helped me over a very, very difficult part of my life. But as we are surrounding ourselves with positive thinking people, we will naturally become those positive people ourselves.
Yep. Kevin told me the same thing, actually, and it changed my entire life. So thanks,
And
Kevin.
And Rochelle, I will tell you, and Kevin, I will bet you saw your potential. Maybe he saw a potential in you that you did not see.
He
He
still
saw
does.
it and said, Rochelle, come on with me. Kevin, will bring out your maximum potential. And that's what leaders do.
He says that
I,
to me.
all the time, because and Ron, this is so instructive to so many people, because so many people tell themselves the story that they think has other people have told them, that they're not smart enough, they're not good enough, they're not tall enough, they're not skinny enough, they're not fat enough, for whatever it is. And we tell ourselves these things, and you know what the reality is? None of it is true.
You're right there. Right on. And that's why we need to surround ourselves with positive thinking people. And none of those positive thinking people, if they're genuine, are patronizing us. They're not placating us. They're genuine. And so they can help us over the very difficult parts of our lives, which, and I talk about it frequently, we have statements of different things that are embedded in the subconscious that tend to control our lives. And those things that are buried in the subconscious are the negatives that hold us back. But Kevin, it's people like you who are going to make the very best out of Rochelle and many other people, because that's your heart attitude.
All I can do is to encourage her to be the person that she is innately already that person. She just didn't know it yet. And we need to take this break. And this, Rochelle, I'm dedicating this to you. Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. A tiny seed was buried in the dirt, covered in darkness, forgotten by the world. But within that darkness, it grew roots, then sprouted into something beautiful. The seasons of struggle you face are not endings. They're beginnings. Trust that growth is happening, even when you cannot see it. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope live. And welcome back to Positive Talk. Ron Cooper's with us, and the Cooper culture. I love that, because we need to create the Cooper culture in businesses and in homes around the country and make it an actual movement. Do you agree with that, Ron?
I do, Kevin, and thank you. And I want to tell you, based on the picking up on the theme of your show, that Positive Talk Radio, if you believe in yourself, I want to say that 4 of the most powerful words in the English language are, I believe in you. And I'm believing that, Kevin, you have either stated that or implicitly or explicitly to Rochelle. And as we live that in the lives of others, I believe in you, we will help people overcome anything of their dark past and help those people live their maximum potential. But those are not just placating words. We're not patronizing people. But as we invest, and I talk about this frequently, many, many times, the resources we invest in people that have the most meaning is our time. And as we are willing to invest time in people, there may be some money included in that, but more so the time. And people know based on the time that we spend with them, you believe in me. So that's exactly what will bring out the very best in people. But that's all about culture.
Well, and I'll tell you, I work every day to create a great culture, and even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and we had one of those conversations at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the outcome of which was she was standing there talking about me, and she was talking about some of the things that were going on, and standing 5 feet away from her was a deer that was standing there looking at her. And I said, do you realize that deer would not be there if you were not, if you didn't feel safe to be around you and the energy that you have? So own it. And I tell people all the time, own who you really are. Don't let other people dictate that to you. You need to own it for yourself. And I'm glad, Ron, you had the mentors that were able to help you through that. I had several as well, and including my high school football coach, who still is with us today, thank goodness. But it's so important that you have mentors, or that you open a space. If you have the ability, if you're a leader, open the space for other people to feel comfortable enough with you so that you can help them become the leader that you can see in them, like I see in Brichelle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Ron, I have to add to that, because what Kevin just said made me understand something I've never seen in this perspective. That deer was in front of me, and for whatever reason felt safe when I was in a chaotic moment. I didn't feel peaceful. I was losing my mind, hence as to why I was outside pacing in the middle of nowhere at 3 o'clock in the morning talking to Kevin. And is that what leadership is also about? You have to be there for people in their hard times and help them navigate through those things as well.
No, you're right on. And I will tell you that it's a different topic, but we do have a vibrational energy about us. And that vibrational energy projects itself to other people. We know it. We can see it in a smile and so forth. And many times you don't have to use the words, but we can know through body language, we call it, that whether you believe in me, whether you are trusting in me, are you doing this because you feel you have to, or are you doing it because you want to? And that'll come through very, very clearly.
And we love the concept of energy because it's so real. And you know what's really cool about that? When you were a young man, which was a few years ago, people considered, oh, you're talking about energy and vibration. No, nobody talks about that. That's woo-woo stuff. Now it's science, and it's proven to be true.
You're right on, Kevin. Proven, absolutely proven to be true. And as we build on that and we speak on that, we can help people believe that, yes, there is an energy. And a lot of that is the mind, not the brain, the mind, the way we think. And so as we think positive in the mind, what your radio program is all about, when we think positive in the mind, we will project positive vibes to other people, and that becomes very attractive to a lot of different people, and that's what we're about. And so as we are projecting that to others, we're helping them live the life God created them to have and to live their full potential.
Ron, I have to ask you, so you're in this Cooper culture, I could only imagine, to say, is it fair to say that your values tie into where your energy lies?
Oh, that's exactly what it is, Brichelle. You're absolutely right. Our foundational values never change over time, and so as as I mentioned earlier, I'll never lie to you. I'll never lie to Marty. I will not embezzle money from you. Those are some of the very foundational values that we have. That doesn't matter what changes in technology. It doesn't matter what changes in my age. Those are foundational values that never change, and so those are relational values. And so as we build on those relations, you'll be able to develop confidence in me. And that confidence is what will keep your relationship with the right man together.
And not
The
only
culture.
that, but in the right business as well. And I have to bring this up because if you and I have a conversation and we decide to work together and I commit to working with you, and then you turn around and you say, well, I'm going to have you sign an NDA contract, which is a non-disclosure agreement contract, I'm going to tell you I'm not going to work with you, because if we can't trust each other on a human to human level, NDA doesn't matter and we'll never work together. Do you kind of have that same philosophy?
Oh, I'm right there, Kevin. Right there, total. I will tell you that it can be a much longer, different conversation. I was a project manager, I call it, not the general contractor, but a project manager for building a very large, it's a 10,000 square foot house. We live right now on 103 acres. About 85% of this multi-million dollar house was built on a handshake. I said, I don't need a contract. You tell me how much you're going to bill me, what the hourly rate is, and so forth. I'm willing to shake hands on it. And you send me a bill, I will pay you. That's a matter of trust, Kevin. And so, literally about 85% of the house was built on that trust, no contract. And as we developed that trust, we were able to move forward. But yes, NDA, come on, man. That's no. If we can't trust each other, and gosh, Rochelle, a lot of a relationship is trust. That it takes time to build trust. It may take 10 times longer to rebuild trust if you ever break the trust. And so
Yep.
we've got to develop trust. That is a foundational truth with each other. And that is either a value we have or it is not. To me, it's a binary type of thing. You either have it or you don't.
And Kevin,
And
that
I
sounds crazy scary to me. Imagine you're like, here, build my house, shake my hand, and charge me exactly what you say.
But you know what the ultimate outcome of that is that I'm willing to bet, Ron, that because you trusted that man, he went above and beyond, or a woman, whichever. He went above and beyond to do a really good job because you put your trust in him. Am I correct in that?
Oh, you're right on. Kevin and Marcella, if you were to walk into our house, I wouldn't even have to tell you where to look. You could look at the miter joints. You can look at the painting. You can look at the different parts of the house. Say, oh my gosh. I mean, there are no mistakes here. It's just everything is right where it should be. But Kevin, that's exactly what ended up happening. That we put our trust in each other, and we knew. I didn't have to say, don't charge me for more time than what you put in. And I'm not going to monitor you. You tell me you work 9 hours, I'm going to believe you work 9 hours, and I'll pay you for 9 hours. But yes, that trust factor went back and forth. And I will tell you that there's a lot of things in our house that you will see the quality workmanship that's right there. And I said, one thing I do not want for you guys to tell me is, let's hurry up and put this last nail in so we can get to the next job. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And Ron, I'm going to trust, we're running out of time. I'm going to trust Rochelle to take us out of the show.
Yes. Well, thank you, first of all, Ron, and to your beautiful wife for spending this time and being here and sharing your knowledge and your story. Also for creating the Cooper culture. I want to give you the last 2 minutes that we have of the show to share any ways to get in contact with you and your company and upcoming things, and a message you'd like to leave us from the show.
Well, thank you, Kevin and Rochelle. I will tell you that culture, moving forward, trust, it's all about the culture that you have produced with your show, Positive Talk Radio. We want to work with businesses who want that type culture in their company, in their families. And when we have helped companies to either sustain or develop, to have that, they will, if you're a for-profit company, when the people and processes are in place, the profits will logically follow. And I am available for public speaking to help you with any keynote speaking. I'm available for workshops, could be half day, full day workshops. And you can contact me through our website at the www.thecooperculture.com or Ron, R-O-N, at thecooperculture.com, or my wife, Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, at thecooperculture.com. Let's explore together how we can collaborate. And collaboration to me is to a mutual benefit. That how can we benefit you? I do believe, and I know with because of our background and where I've been in life, that we can help you, your company, your family, get to the point where you have a very tight, coherent, cohesive team. Kevin, Rochelle, thank you so much for this opportunity to talk with you and your audience.
Thank
I
you.
can only tell you this, Ron Cooper. You're going to have to come back because we ain't done with you yet.
Oh, man. I tell you what, Kevin, Rochelle, I love it. Just keep it up. And there are many, many topics we can discuss that I feel very certain would benefit your audience. And it's about your audience, not me.
Thank you. That's exactly how we feel as well, don't we, Rochelle?
Exactly that. Thank you so much for your time, Ron. And thank you, everybody, for being here. We love you, and we'll be back for another great show.
Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another because each other